So Brian, unlike voice or IP, where voice was the mainstream business of the telcos, and they decided to invest in it, IPTV is really a new sort of service for telcos, and that segment has traditionally been served by the likes of cable companies and the satellite companies. As an overview, do you think that in general telcos are genuinely interested in IPTV, and how far are they willing to go in terms of investment, and whether this is going to be, do you think this is going to be a big market at all?
Sure. Yeah, really good question. I think you have to kind of look at where the service provider is today. I think in every market, the wireline revenues are falling. We all know that, right? I mean, so the problem there, of course, is that as they're looking for new business opportunities, they're looking for different target markets, but they're also looking, for ways they can keep the consumer on the network. And in so many cases, they've all deployed broadband service, one type or another. They've set a foundation there, and so the next logical section is to provide some type of service. So I would say right now, every service provider that we talk to has some type of test going on or deployment going on with an IPTV. And I think the rollouts are considerably slower than what anybody would consider, but at the same time, I think any major technology evolution, it takes a while to get the technology out, proof of concept, and then really bring it out to full maximum investment. So we're still extremely confident with what's happened with IPTV in a very short period of time. And as we mentioned in our analyst session today, in India we won 4 of the last 5 major IPTV contracts. I know for a fact that we've got another one coming down the pipe very quickly. And in China, we're leading the way right now with China.com and China Telecom with the largest number of deployments in that region. So doing well. Will that be a serious plan? Will it be a big market? I think it'll be tremendous. It won't be tremendous because of a replication of the existing television model. It'll be tremendous because the level of interactivity the subscriber will experience. You can kind of reference what's happening with the internet model and what that means to all of us today. It's probably the most common communications platform you use for information retrieval, but also communication. Well, think of that, having that level of connectivity, that level of interaction with television. That's the right IPTV television model for the future.
Right. You are presumably looking or targeting mostly the telcos. But there are also the cable and the satellite guys that are now looking at IPTV as a means to deliver video on demand. Do you think that the cable and the satellite guys will over time move towards a full-fledged IP where the not only video on demand but other interactive services as well as the live TV is transported using IP?
I really do. In fact, we're already seeing evidence of that. We signed our first cable operator to IPTV just several months back. And I would say this, I think that as the wireline service providers engage in IPTV, they start to get success, the cable operators could potentially see churn. They're going to look for new ways to keep the subscriber on the network. If my assumptions are right on interactivity, they'll require IPTV in order to afford that level of interactivity to their subscriber base. So yes, I agree, you will see the cable operators, the satellite operators migrate to IP as well. So.
Okay, on the topic of interactive services, which is one of the main drivers of IPTV you just mentioned, there has been some debate going on in the industry in terms of what new services IPTV enables, and so far, to be fair, not many services have come to surface. Do you think this is due to the lack of open middleware platforms out there in the market that do not enable the Web 2.0 type APIs to developers who could then come in and bring their video related applications and enrich and enhance the IPTV platforms?
Could be. I think probably the larger problem, and this is one of the reasons we built the solution ourselves in the end, I think one of the larger reasons is it's one thing to set up a television platform to replicate the existing television model, right? You can work with a bunch of different vendors, kind of cobble them together and build a solution that does broadcast and maybe some on demand. It's a totally different thing to work with a bunch of different companies and then try to provide an interactive service. And honestly, that was one of the reasons we built this infrastructure head-in, the core access and transport, edge aggregation, the set-top box, VPG, the DRM. We built it all. We built it that way, IP streaming and interactive capabilities because we wanted to really take it to IPTV. We weren't really that focused on replicating the existing market. We're really focused on building an interactive market. In doing that, you require all the layers to interact very well, and that's something we've accomplished from a very strong point. The key things are today is I think even the service providers we work with, by and large, are doing an increased amount of on-demand channels, an increased amount of broadcast channels, and then some interactive communications like time shift, etc. But they all know that in our portfolio, the package includes things like advertising and on-demand purchase and polling and all kinds of other interactive services. We mentioned some of the things like digital signage, and we mentioned something called IPTV Lite that just provides the same kind of features like a Facebook and a YouTube and highly interactive and storage type services. We think that longer term, as the service provider rolls out these services, you'll see a huge amount of new applications, some that are there today and some that are not, that the carriers just haven't leveraged, is what will actually be deployed to the customer or the service provider. And you mentioned satellite and cable operators. They will indeed recognize and leverage those same types of applications. So you're right, I think there's not a huge number of applications you're seeing deployed currently just because they're getting the service operational. Over time, in the next 2 to 3 years, you'll see a higher level of interactive services being rolled out as well.
These new applications that you're talking about, majority, if not, let's say a significant proportion, if not majority, are going to be internet type services. Services like, maybe photo sharing and watching them on TV, and the Facebook type applications and all those, and online YouTube type applications being watched over TV. These are internet type applications, and a lot of the people on the internet prefer to watch, especially the younger generation, they prefer to watch video content online. Do you think that internet TV, or indeed the over-the-top IPTV, whereby a service provider does not necessarily own the last mile but gives out the set-top boxes and signs up the subscribers, is that a threat to the telco TV, telco IPTV going forward?
Yeah, I think it's just another form of accessing the media. If you look at our model, we really, from the start, we really haven't been concerned about what the endpoint was. For us, it was a software client. So whether it's a PC, whether it's a mobile device, or an iPhone, for example, or any type of device, what we want to do is have the information, have the content, and let it be accessible to anything. Today we talk about set-top boxes, but the reality is, from our perspective, you should be able to get the content from any type of a device, no matter where you're at. And I think that the beauty of our system is, since it's streaming on all IP, there's really little obstacle in delivering that right now. So I mean, it's a great question, and I understand the application of what how people are leveraging YouTube and Facebook, etc. But we think that as things mature, it'll just be common connectivity, common access to your media. Could be movies, could be online content, could be news, could be anything, all stored, and all personalized. And then ultimately, instead of just having, the stuff that's available, it's your stuff that's available for you to access, and that's where we come in. So today, the consumer is still just going to get information, but it's not necessarily personalized. We think the next level of that is their personalized content. And when you turn on your television or your mobile device or whatever it is, you'll go out and grab the content that you want, that's specifically in tune to you. And at the same time, when you think about that, you go the next step. As we learn about the subscriber through our system, now we give the advertisers the ability to advertise to that specific target market. So that's where we think the creativity, the interactivity comes into play.
Okay, just one last question about your competitors and your competitive strategy in the area of IPTV. You're one of the top 5 at the moment on a worldwide basis, and in Asia you're the leading one, IPTV vendor in Asia. But over the last year or so, we see Alcatel, Lucent, and Microsoft coming in strong in those areas, or in those regions. What is your strategy to compete with the likes of Alcatel, Lucent, and Microsoft, and also the regional IPTV vendors such as ZTE?
Right. Yeah, you're right. I think all of them made significant progress in the past, and we really can't worry about what they're doing. They're all big vendors. They're all investing heavily in the verticals. I think we just have to focus on what our game plan was from the start, and that was all IP streaming end to end. We know we've got some things going for us, the ability to scale to tremendous capacities. We know how to handle the unicast traffic very well. I think that we've got a lot of history behind us as far as what we've done. We've aggregated our NGN behind it, and I think we just have to make sure that we continue on the path, continue to mature the product, and I think the rest will be solid for us. I think if we look at just the successes we've had in both those regions, the scale of our deployments, we just have to be confident in what we're doing, and we really can't look over our shoulders at those guys. We just have to continue to mature the platform. So, it's a big space. There's lots of opportunity, and as you heard, throughout the session today, it's not that we need to win every single deal. We just need to focus on the ones that are right for us. That are kind of a composite of NGN and IPTV, and we'll be just fine. So, we won't be looking over our shoulder too much. We'll be just focused on maturing the solution and going forward. So.
Great. Well, thanks very much for your time.
Thank you very much.